Yes, a very good day to you. I hope you're having yourself an amazing day if you're watching or listening from abroad, and a good evening to you if you're watching or listening from Kenya. This is the Black Hot Fire News Update. It is actually a Friday. I hope you had an amazing week. I hope your week was as amazing as mine. It's been an amazing week for me, and with a lot of good things, and it was a balanced week for me, but it was a good week. So I hope you had a good week, and I'm here to tell you about what has been happening throughout the whole of Africa today and for this week. And of course, our main focus today will be the Senegalese election. Senegal is holding its elections on Sunday. That means the next time we have the Black Hot Fire News update, Senegal will be having a new president, and Macky Sall will no longer be in power. So our main focus of the day will be the Senegalese election, and all that you need to know about the upcoming Senegalese election, which will happen on Sunday. Many people can't believe that the election is going to happen on Sunday. Of course, after all the drama that has been surrounding the election, it has had a lot of dramas around it. Started with the postponement, the parliament voting to support the postponement, the Supreme Court coming out and saying that the postponement was illegal, Macky Sall saying it's not gonna, it has had a lot of ups and downs, but finally they agreed and the election is going to be held on Sunday. So we're going to be looking at everything that you need to know about Senegal. Senegal is a country, is one of the few stable countries in Africa, not just stable in terms of stable in comparison to the other countries. I mean, if you compare it with other countries, it is a bit stable in terms of the political atmosphere. So, but it has been having um, a lot of problems lately, especially after Macky Sall postponed the elections. And Macky Sall has been in power for the last 10 years. And so, and the other thing is the election is so unpredictable. It is the first time since in Senegal's history that a sitting president is not vying. So Macky Sall has not been in power for 10 years. He has been in power for 12 years. 12 years. And it had to take the intervention of ECOWAS chair Tinubu, who met Senegalese at one point. Then he had refused to implement the court order reversing election delay. Then later on agreed to follow the court order. Then later on said he's not going to apologize for having postponed the election because he did it for the good of the country. So it was a lot of drama surrounding the Senegalese election. So let me take you through it. Initially, President Macky Sall made a declaration that the election, which was initially scheduled for May 25, was not going to happen. Reason being, there was some uncertainties with some candidates not having been cleared to vie. So he came out, said, until all this is resolved, there is not going to be an election, and the election is going to be held on December. This, of course, angered the people of Senegal very much, and they took to the streets. So last month and late January and February, there was a lot of political intolerance in Senegal, with people in the streets protesting against Macky Sall's decision to postpone the election, and this caused a lot of wrangles between the police and the residents of Senegal, and many people lost their lives. By the way, tens of people lost their lives in the demonstrations because at some point the police had to use force. So during that process of the police having to use force in trying to disband people who are protesting, some lives were lost. So some lives have been lost for this election to be held on Sunday, but at least finally. So after the people protested, the parliament went and voted. The parliament voted in support of Sir. Of course, I know why they did that. It was because they are also in power and they don't want to leave power. So that was what I assumed. So the parliament voted in support of Sir, said the election should be postponed. It is in the good of the people of Senegal. So the election was postponed. This angered the people even more. and they went back to the streets, this time even angrier, to a point that it reached a point where Macky Sall had to shut down internet access in Senegal so that people could not communicate with each other on how to demonstrate, on how to protest, on how to go to the streets. So at some point there was no internet coverage in Senegal. As I said, at one point it even had to take uh, man like Bola Tinubu, who is the chair of ECOWAS. He had to go to Senegal and try to talk to Macky Sall, plead with Macky Sall to have the elections held and to stop postponing it. He also had to take the US envoy and a lot of other people. There was that whole uncertainty. And lastly, the Supreme Court came out. A court in Senegal came out, said the postponement was unconstitutional and that election had to be held. At the beginning, Macky Sall did not respond to the court ruling, but later on, he agreed to have the elections held. He agreed to obey the court order, and that is why Senegal will be having its election on Sunday. So that will be the end of Macky Sall's 12-year tenure. He has been in power for 12 years. Um, After so many delays, 19 candidates are competing to succeed Macky Sall as president. And as I said, it is the first time in Senegalese history that a sitting president is not vying. Among the people vying are opposition leaders who are released this week. There are opposition leaders who are in prison, who had been imprisoned by President Macky Sall, but he released them before. It looks like he didn't want to live with blood on his hands. So he released them first, and they are among the 19 candidates vying. So far, no clear frontrunner has emerged, but that is not even important. What is important is that the political uh, intolerance, the crowd that the cloud that has started gathering over Senegal with people getting murdered, people getting killed by police in the streets, at least that is going to end. So I really don't care who's going to win, who's the front runner, because at the end of the day, it's an election. And as we know, democracy only exists majorly in books. So what I'm happy about is that people are no longer going to get killed in protest, and the people of Senegal will at least be happy because they're going to have the selection on Sunday. So the election was originally scheduled to take place on Feb 25th, not May, Feb 25th. So it is, but Sir announced that he was delaying the vote to December. So the people took to the streets. The people were actually carrying placards written, Macky Sall is a dictator, because they thought he wanted to stay longer in power because he had delayed the protest he had delayed the election to December. Imagine an election that is supposed to be on Feb being pushed to December by someone who's been in power for 12 years. So I also agree with the people of Senegal. Looks like Macky Sall did not want to leave office. He wanted to stay a little bit longer. So who are the main candidates for this election? One of the main candidates for this election is the main opposition leader. His name is Bassirou Diomaye Faye. He's 43 years old, and he stepped in to replace opposition leader Osman Sonko, who was barred from running in the election due to defamation charges. So he looks like he's the front runner in this election. So on Monday, I might be declaring Bassirou Diomaye Faye the new president of Senegal. Looks like he's the most popular one of the 19, but we don't know what will happen, because as I said, most of these elections are not even elections, they are selections. So we're going to look and see what is going to happen. But he is one of the 19 candidates who are vying. There are also other people who are vying. There is former prime minister, his name is Mohamed Boun Abdallah Dion, who has called himself the president of reconciliation. His main agenda is reconciliating Senegal. Against who, I don't know. Another person vying is the one-time mayor of Dakar. His name is Khalifa Sarr, who's running for the 4th time. There is also a female candidate running, which is good when you see women in Africa starting to get involved in politics. When you see it's not a common sight to see a female presidential candidate, and when I see one, doesn't matter whether she'll win or not, it is a beautiful sight to see. So one female candidate, her name is Anta Babakar Ngom. She is the political newcomer, and she runs Senegal's largest poultry company. So she's a rich business woman, and a newcomer in the political scene. She's also vying against the men. So the men, the one that are on the front run, I'm not gonna mention the 19 names. Some of them already know they are not gonna win. They're just there for the formalities. So let me mention the ones who are a bit popular, who look like they are gonna. And Bosirao Diomaye Faye is 43 years old. That would make him among the youngest presidents in Africa if he wins. Is there a president younger than that, 43 years? I don't know. Maybe Traore. How old is Traore? Let me check how old is Traore. Traore must be younger than that. Traore must be much younger than that. The president, the transitional president of Burkina Faso. Let me see how old he is before I declare this man. Traore is the youngest president in Africa. He's 36. I suspected he was 38, but he's 36. Only 36 years old. He was born in 1988, so he's the youngest president in Africa. And among the few people in Africa who I can call leader. So he's the youngest leader. Allow me to call Traore a leader. He's among the youngest. He's the youngest leader in Africa. So let me see the other politicians. The other politicians in Africa, the age range. Our president, I know, is 50 something. Museveni is too old for me to mention the age. But Traore is the youngest at 36 years of age. Let me see who follows him. The others are politicians. The other one is Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia, who's a politician. He's 46 years of age. The other one is Andre Rajoelina of Madagascar, aged 48. The other one is Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, aged 44. The other one is Mswati III of Swaziland, aged 54. Then William Ruto of Kenya, aged 55. George Weah of Liberia, aged 55. And Faure Gassinbe of Togo, aged 56. Yep. So that means if Bosirao Diomaye Faye, who's the front runner according to many people in the Senegalese election, wins, he's going to be the second youngest politician in Africa. Politician president, who's a politician who's also a president, is going to be the second youngest if he wins. Also in the race are some other gentlemen, such as the one that I mentioned, Khalifa Sall, who was a mayor, who's 68 years old. There is former Prime Minister Amadou Ba, who's 62. Then there is former Prime Minister also Mohamed Boun Abdallah Dion, who's 64. And then there is Anta Babakar Ngom, the first woman to vie in Senegal. She's only 40 years. How I wish she could win, this businesswoman. But she's a newcomer to the political scene. And it's not many times we see we see a newcomer win an election in Africa. The new president will have a lot of things to deal with in Senegal. One of it being there was that division that came about after Macky Sall declared a postponement of the election. So I guess that is why one of them, Mohamed Boun, took the term the reconciliation president, because politicians are very opportunistic. So he must have noticed there was a little divide, and now he's calling himself the president of reconciliation. There is also a lot of Senegal is also not doing well economically, because more than 60% of Senegalese people are unemployed. There is, 3 out of 10 Senegalese aged 18 to 35 are jobless. So it is a country that is in an economic crisis, like most African countries. So the new president, when selected, will have quite a task in his shoulders, which all we can do is hope that he's gonna do. So that is all you need to know on the Senegalese election. It is going to be held on Sunday. So I'll be here on Monday to update you on how it went, who won, and who lost. who was selected and who was not selected. So let us now look at other things in other countries. And I'm still going to go back to West Africa, where the United States says it has not received a formal request by Niger junta to leave military bases. This is after news circulated that Niger had ordered the United States of America to leave. The Niger junta had ordered the United States of America military forces, defense forces, to leave Niger. So the United States said today that it has not received a formal request by Niger junta to leave military bases, and so it is not going to leave until it receives a formal request. A top Pentagon official told Congress on Thursday that the US has not received a formal request from the Niger's junta to depart the country, said it has received mixed signals on whether the hundreds of troops were no longer welcome. But come on, they already know they are not welcome. They just don't want to leave. That is why they are bringing up all these excuses. You have not received a formal request. We are not sure. So he apparently said, he told the Congress on Thursday that they were receiving mixed signals on whether the hundreds of US troops there are no longer welcome. I don't see where the mixed signals are coming in. It is clear as daylight. It is clear, Mr. Celeste Walanda. His name is Celeste Walanda. He's the Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs. It is very clear that nobody wants the US Army in Niger, not just in the Sahel Alliance. But I hope they are going to be given the formal request that they are asking for, and then we'll see the next excuse that they're going to give. I really hope Niger's junta writes a formal request, a formal one, and sends it to them. Then we see the next excuse that they're going to give on why they are yet to leave Niger. So he told the House Armed Services Committee that so far Niger's ruling military council, known as the CNSP, has not formally asked the US military to leave. Walanda said the CNSP, that is Niger's military junta, has said the status of force said the CNP has said the status of forces agreement, which sets the term of US military presence in the country, is now null and void. However, she said the junta has assured us that the American military forces are protected and they will take no action that will endanger them. So this is what she said. This is what he said. He said that even though the junta had said that the status of force agreement, which sets the term for a US military presence in the country, was null and void, the junta had assured the United States of America that the military forces there will be protected and no action will endanger them. They won't take any action to endanger them. The US military has about 650 troops and another several hundred support personnel still in Niger, which in the past has been a critical hub for counter-terrorism operation. But last July, the junta, after the junta took over, it looks like it doesn't want the United States of America's troops in the country anymore. Walanda said the US is continuing to look for ways to conduct operations against violent extremist organizations in the region. Of course, he had to pull that card. So he pulled that card that the US is continuing to look for ways to conduct operations against extremist organizations in the region. So there are ongoing conversation with the CNSP to discuss the path forward. Not my words, the words of Walanda. So he said there are ongoing conversations and that they are trying to look for a path forward. They really don't want to leave Niger. They are looking for a way they can resolve their differences with Niger and, of course, remain there. So that was what he told the House of Congress. We have not left yet because there is an ongoing conversation with the junta to discuss the way forward. So that is the reason there are still 600 plus military personnel, US boots in Niger. So let us now head to Egypt, where Egypt is also going through a whole economic crisis. And it had to take, they were bailed out the other day by the IMF and United Secretary of State United States Secretary of State, his name is Anthony Blinken, was in Cairo, where he met President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Um, that was his sixth trip to the Middle East since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. So it looks like Anthony Blinken and Abdel Fattah were talking about the war in Israel and Hamas. Um, President al-Sisi stressed the urgent need for a ceasefire, deploring the humanitarian crisis and a famine threatening the lives of civilians in Gaza. So the main reason for the meeting was not to do with uh, the economic crisis, which the IMF looks like it is going to bail Egypt out of. Not bail, but help. And it is not really helping. But anyways, looks like the IMF is going to send donations, send loans to Egypt to help them with the economic crisis. So Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was having a meeting with Anthony Blinken to talk about the war in Gaza. So previously, actually, the day before yesterday, Blinken had visited Saudi Arabia to discuss a ceasefire in Gaza too, the release of prisoners and hostages, and the strengthening of international humanitarian efforts. So Mr. Blinken was due to meet Arab ministers later on Thursday to discuss broader security guarantees for Israel and the role of Arab states in managing and rebuilding the Gaza Strip after the war. So Mr. Blinken will travel to Israel on Friday, that is today. He was to travel to Israel today for talks aimed at negotiating a ceasefire agreement, as well as voicing US concerns about Israel's plan to extend its ground offensive to the southern Gaza Strip town of Rafah. So the financier of the attack is heading there to have a talk on how the attack is not going to happen. Theatrics for you. As that was happening, Egypt, with all its economic crisis, increased fuel prices following depreciation of local currency. So the currency, the Egypt's currency has been on a downward spiral. As I said, it is going through a tough economic time, as is the case with Nigeria, as is the case with Ethiopia, as is the case with Ghana, as is the case with Benin, as is the case with so many African countries right now. So so apparently fuel prices is going to go up in Egypt. The government said the hikes resulted from the increased cost of importing energies because of the depreciation of the local currency and the global surge in energy prices following a turmoil in the Red Sea. So Egypt, like other countries that the IMF has claimed to help, was asked to float the currency. And as you know, when you float a currency, it's going to get devalued, it's going to lose value. And for countries that are really dependent on imports, once a currency loses value, then the cost of living is going to go up. So that is what is happening right now. The Egyptian pound, the Egyptian currency is called a pound. The pound's official rate fell from nearly 31 to 51 per US dollar. So it was 31 pounds per US dollar. It is at 51 right now. That is an increase in 20. And that is not all. It has even appreciated by nearly 10% in recent weeks, as the banking sector began receiving large inflows of foreign currency, according to the government. So the government is claiming it is trying to resuscitate, to revive the economy that was going down. And I don't know why this is happening, because Egypt had been assured of a 3 billion bailout by IMF, a 3 billion US dollars bailout, but the IMF agreed to increase the bailout to 8 billion. I don't know why they are still having a turmoil, even after 8 billion US dollars was pumped into the economy. I thought that is supposed to make, at least to have a false fluctuation, to make the currency like we are seeing in Kenya with the Eurobond. So I thought that 8 billion being pumped into the economy is going to make, to have a false fluctuation upwards, but it has gone down. Or maybe they are yet to receive the money they were just promised. So I don't want to judge. Maybe the 8 billion is yet to hit their accounts, and maybe things are going to get a little better for the people of Egypt. But that was what was happening in Egypt today. Let us now go to Uganda, where Ugandan president has appointed his son as top commander of the army. So Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni on Thursday appointed his son top commander of the military, a controversial move in a country where many have long believed Museveni is grooming his eldest child for presidency. Museveni's son, his name is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has recently been holding rallies across the country in violation of a law barring serving military officers from engaging in partisan politics. There is a law in Uganda that bars military officers from engaging in partisan politics, but Muhoozi has been doing it nevertheless. His dad is the president anyway. Kainerugaba says his activities, including the recent launch of an activist group, are not partisan, but they are patriotic. It is patriotism. So he was promoted to his new post late Thursday, according to a military statement. Two of his closest advisors have been given ministerial posts in a reshuffle of government ministers, also announced late Thursday. Museveni, who first took power by force in 1986, has been elected 6 times and has not said when he would retire. He has no rivals within the ruling National Resistance Movement Party. The reason many believe the military will have a say in choosing the successor. So it looks like Museveni is really trying to groom his son to take over after him. Uganda's next presidential elections will be held in 2 years, that is in 2026, and it looks like it is the reason Muhoozi, who's Museveni's son, is getting groomed for it. 2 years to go. Museveni has to look for an exit strategy. He wants to leave his son in power. That is just my opinion. I think that is what is happening. But fact is, he appointed his son as top commander of the army before leaving office. Algeria is also set to hold presidential vote in September. That is another African country that is holding its election. This is in other news. Algeria will hold its presidential election on September 7th, giving President Abdelmajid Tebboune more than 5 months to campaign should he decide to seek a second term, leading the North African nation. Algeria is a very oil-rich North African country, and the presidency announced the date in a statement on Thursday after meeting with a group that included high-ranking members of parliament and the Constitutional Court, as well as the Independent Election Authority. So that is Algeria having its election in September. Selection, that is another African country about to have an election. So in the Senegalese election that is going to happen on Sunday, 7 million Senegalese are the ones who have registered to vote, and they're the ones who are going to cast the ballot on Sunday. So, and lastly, IMF, the International Monetary Fund, visited Ethiopia today.
With Demore. I'm on both shows, Dana. I was on the show with Seth. I mean, Seth was talking about the religion, how it worked. So they knew history. Black people wouldn't be in the religion. We're showing him with the Christ myths. I'm going back and forth. I just don't set them in Uganda. I seen Demore was live. I said, let me come bother Demore for a little bit. I wonder if I can. I
was actually talking about Uganda and how Museveni appointed his son Muhoozi as
Captain Crunch.
Looks like he's preparing him for presidency come 2026.
But then I told you, they're not gonna let the white man doesn't want Captain Crunch to be president. They let Museveni have it for 40 years, and then they got Bobby Wine waiting. They don't. Captain Crunch will never see to be the Ugandan president. The people don't want his ass there, and you won't be able to have it without the backing of the white man, as Museveni has had. His son will never gain power. So no, that's what he's trying to do. Of course, we know that. So that's what they do in all these African despotic countries. Try to put the
maybe he's just trying to prepare another 1986. That is, if maybe the forces do not allow him or his whoever is going to choose. Just a minute. Maybe if the forces will not allow whoever he will choose to get into power, then he will have his son as. So apparently the army is not changed by the president when he takes power. So maybe he's just trying to put him there. So in case somebody else takes power, then he will be in a position to have a coup. He will be in a position to coup the new leader.
It's not going to happen.
Because he will be the commander.
It don't make when the president they'll get rid of him. It don't make any difference. He doesn't have any real power outside of his father, Demore. doesn't have any real power. His father's appointed in these positions. He doesn't have any loyalty. Like I told you about
So
loyalty.
this is
So
an interesting
he doesn't have any,
question, Keith.
he doesn't
This is
have
an
any
interesting
loyalty
question
underneath.
of. Mhm,
He doesn't have any loyalty underneath him, Demore.
mhm,
That's why I believe in loyalty. Not how people
mhm,
are you loyal. Loyalty means a lot. He doesn't. His father's appointing him, but he doesn't have any loyalty from his men. They don't
So
need.
what
They
is
don't.
banking on is fear. He has that element of fear. The people
That don't
fear
work.
his father. The
You know.
people fear him.
You know why that don't work?
Mhm,
Because Semi doesn't control Uganda. The white man does. Once his ass is gone, the fear is gone because he's not going to be allowed to be established and have the backing of the Europeans. So there's no pays Uganda and all these African despots military the Europeans do. That's why Kenya was told to go take their ass to Haiti, even though it's unconstitutional. According to the Kenyan Constitution, it's wrong. You can't do it. But the white man said, nigga, you better find a way. You better get them niggas over to Haiti. Even though I don't care about your constitution. It's
mhm.
wrong. It's right. But you know who
So it
pays them.
will be a test of power between, of
No,
course, if whoever will take power
it
will not
won't
be
be.
who Museveni wants, then he
It
will
won't
ask
be.
his son to coup.
It won't be. It won't.
Mhm.
Let me tell you the truth. It won't be anymore. I'm gonna break your heart. It won't. He has no
I
loyalty.
don't.
He has no backing by anybody there. And he does without money to pay anybody.
It's
The
it's an
loyalty.
interesting question on. It's an interesting question on
No, it's not.
who really holds the power, the one who
Bobby
sits in the
Wine holds the
office
power.
or the
Bobby
one with the
Wine,
gun.
Bobby Wine holds the power. Because he's the one. Bobby Wine holds the power because he's backed by the West. That's why he's not being murdered. That's why you see him escaping his house and going through the village on his motorcycle. Nobody's shooting him in the head. Because 70's been told, you kill him, you're done. He would have been already killed. Kagame would have killed his ass. He would have already been killed. You think Museveni had been told, nigga, he's untouchable. You touch him, we getting your ass up out of there tomorrow. You gone. So
It is going to be interesting in Uganda because even if the West decides not to intervene and they let Uganda have a democratic election for once, then the people are going to vote out Museveni and his people. The people do not want them.
they better get it. Exactly. They're gonna let him stay until he dies because he's still doing the bidding down in the Congo. He's still a useful idiot. So long as
So
he's doing.
the West do not even need to steal the election. They don't even need to rig. They just need to let it be democratic. If they do that, the people of Uganda are going to vote out.
They would have been vote this moron out back in the 80s.
Yeah. They have always tried to.
Everything if it was fair, but 70 would have been gone. Who's gonna vote?
A long time ago.
Who's gonna vote for this moron who can't even be head of a Kentucky Fried Chicken? You can imagine what? It would have been got rid of his ass. But the elections are fraudulent. They know that. Somebody wanted this slow talking moron for 40 years. He's going for some sham election. Yeah.
But before we worry about the Ugandan election, which is in 2026, we have an election on Sunday in Senegal. That is the one that is
another election
we are thinking about right now, with Macky Sall not running for office. It is the first time in Senegalese history where a sitting president is not running. So it is uncertain on who is going to win. The opposition leaders were just released this week.
It's not certain. Find out who the West Bank.
It is uncertain. It is uncertain for the people because the people do not really understand
then they stupid. A lot of Africans are stupid. So all you gotta do, Demore, you want to bring certainty. Find out who the West Bank, who the West backs, and you'll see who's gonna win. See who the West backs. It ain't the brother they let out of prison. It ain't his ass, even though he's the most popular. And if it's a real election, a real democracy, he would win. But since there's not, he's gonna lose. So see who the West backs. All you gotta see who does the Western powers back.
I was actually happy for Senegal because unlike their neighbors who are advocating for FGM, there is a woman vying for presidency in Senegal for the first time. That was good news to me. Their neighbors Gambia are advocating for FGM, At least they have a woman vying among the 19 candidates.
Well, but
A
so,
40, a
but
40-year-old woman who is not gonna win, but at
I know,
least.
but look, because she's a woman, I know she's not a bootleg. Because she's a woman, they go, you got. Don't go for the gender, brother, because you think you're trying to be meritorious. That's true. Need more women,
Mhm.
but you gotta go. You gotta dig deeper. Who the fuck is this lady? Who's backing her? Where
She
the
is
fuck?
she is a businesswoman, owns Senegal's biggest poultry company.
Okay. There we go. That's red flag for me right there. How's a woman that own the biggest poultry company in Senegal? Okay, who
Uh,
back? Sound like some French backing to me. Sound like her family's in bed with the French. So
but they're
something's
not.
fishy to
They
me.
put the money. They put the money on the wrong basket. I don't think she's gonna win. She's a
I
newcomer
know
in politics, and
it doesn't matter tomorrow. She's gonna be set up for
mhm,
the next time. That's how politics work. I'm just trying to put her name out there so you get familiar with her. The next time to run around, you might think she's a revolutionary candidate, and she's
mhm.
not. I'm just putting her name out. I'm just think how politics work. I'm just getting her name out there. I don't want her to win, but I want you to get familiar with her. I want you to say, man, she had some good ideals. Independent, and it's a woman, and we're trying to be egalitarian. We're not trying to.
Nah. The reason I said I was happy a woman was vying was Senegal borders
Right. They
Gambia,
were
and
sitting
Gambia
there.
is going through. You know what is happening in Gambia, kids, and so at least
I don't know.
young women, young
I
girls
don't
in
know. Tomorrow we
Gambia,
get
young girls
cooking.
in Gambia.
I don't
I'm
know.
saying
Tomorrow
young
we
girls
get
in
cooking.
Gambia will look at her and they'll get motivated.
That's
Doesn't
true.
matter whether she wins.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for your cousin to tell us. I don't know what's going on in Gambia. Wait for your cousin
So
to tell us.
the
Is that
Gambians are about to approve FGM to make female genital mutilation legal. It is going
God
to happen on
damn?
Monday.
God damn! And you
Yep.
more go to Gambia, man. Your cousin better get out of there, better sell her shit and leave. But anyway,
So it is. They are about to make female genital mutilation legal. It is going to happen on Monday, and so that is why I was saying it is at least some positive news in
I told you.
comparison to what is
I
happening
told
in their neighbor.
I told you, goopy Negroes,
Mhm,
going back to Africa, don't go no Gambia. Go to
mhm,
Kenya, go South Africa, go to something that you can deal with the culture. Don't go no Gambia. I told you, goopy. That's why they're killing you over there. You went back, you don't exactly. Hillary Clinton's a woman wicked as hell. That
uh-huh,
woman wicked, evil, and all fucked up. Don't look at because a person, a woman, that don't mean
mhm,
shit. Especially the coons we got here in America. These black
mhm,
women that are elected, they do nothing for black people. They're all bought and paid for. Coons,
mhm,
Demore, all of them. All of them. Bought and paid for.
mhm,
Bootlicking, handkerchief
mhm,
head, backstabbing, house negress, coon ass Negroes. Every last
mhm,
one of them. They put
mhm,
there to make sure. So they're all they are is white women and black face.
mhm.
That's what you see. So always chase the money. Go back to this woman says, yeah, it's a good look. That's what they say about Michelle Obama. Michelle,
Mhm.
the black woman, first lady. You better then you research Barack Obama, seen how fucked up he was, how criminal, how fucked up he was. Talking about coming to Africa. Hey, Kenya, would you like to suck dick and be a man? Yes, put that in there. Because you just knew he was African, all that crazy. He come from the tribe of Kenya. You don't get out
Mhm.
of that fake ass made up CIA story. CIA shit. Okay, from no Kenya that made up. They got to get the African and the African American connection. They trying to get that shit was all baloney. Yeah, Big Mike is a woman. Exactly. That's a man. Michelle Obama's a man. You know that, right? Demore, you know that?
Is that the reason they murdered the chef?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Uh-huh.
do. You know about the shit. That's right. Mysteriously dies. Mysteriously. Because he seen Big Mike's dick.
Mhm.
Oh, shit. Where the fuck is going on? He's trying to make breakfast and he sees a woman with a wig come out with a dick. What are you supposed to do? How you gonna keep that quiet, Demore? They had to unalive his ass. His dick was bigger than Obama's. Oh shit! His dick is bigger than Barack's. Motherfucker put his dick in the salad. Goddamn, Big Mike. What's your dick doing in the salad, nigga? Hey, Michelle.
So here is an image of the woman that I was talking about. She's only 40 years. She's a very rich businesswoman in
She's
Senegal.
only 40 years old, Demore. She didn't make that fucking money at 40.
She's 40 years.
40. She didn't become the biggest chicken farmer in Senegal in no damn shit. You was like 20. Are you crazy? You better follow the money and find out who's supporting this goofy broad. and who's putting their dick in the salad, nigga?
Mm-hmm. So that is what was happening in Senegal. For me, I'm still going to say it is. I know it is not good. It might be just another puppet, probably is. But in comparison to what is happening in Gambia, I'm gonna hail Senegal because at least in a battle of demons, they are the lesser demon. At least they are not looking.
I've already told you, Demore. A demon is no less a demon. A demon is a demon is a demon.
You know, if this was Gambia, kid, they would be asking if this woman was mutilated. If that would be the question: is she mutilated? If she's not, they are not gonna talk to her.
Well, so what? So what? So what? You know, no. I don't follow the money. I don't care if she got a coochie clipped or not. I need to follow the money. Who's backing it? How she's so wealthy?
We are going to do that if she wins. If she wins, our show on Monday will be just about her.
I'm doing it before she wins. I'm calling this broad out. I smell bullshit, Demore. I smell bullshit with this woman. I smell it. It's all on her smile. Look how she's smiling. Yeah! Look how she's smiling. She's smiling. Her smile is full of bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So that was Senegal, and the people pushing for the FGM ban, by the way, are religious leaders. Gambia is a Muslim country, and they say they are pushing that to bring back religious purity. But I already talked about that over the week. We were here with
ladies clitorius. You see, I told you the religion's so backwards, so idiotically crazy, so moronically stupid that it can't even be defended on any level. Then why aren't the white Muslims cutting their women's genitals off? It's only you goofy niggas doing it because you're backward and foolish and stupid. You look like that because that's what you are. Don't get mad. Hey, don't call us that. Then don't act like that then. Don't act like that. Talking about you 23rd century, talking about cutting out some woman's private parts, talking about bringing back purity. You sound like a moron. That was never even part of no African culture ever. Nowhere. So if it's not part of African culture, how can you be bringing back purity if you're talking about going back to Africa? But you Negroes don't want to go back to Africa. You talk about your Muslims, yeah, Islam. So you don't want nothing to do with Africa. Remember Africa. Everything to do with Africa is evil. Islam. Because Africans never cut up no woman's private parts. Talk about this is purity because you all messed up because you insecure. You're gonna have complete control of a woman's body because you're despotic. A demon is a demon is a demon.
I think you are looking for the word moron.
Yeah, the moronic ass.
Yeah. So, and lastly, I was talking about how IMF looks like it is on a cash spraying spree in Africa. It handed Egypt 8 billion the other day, handed Kenya 2 billion, handed Ghana 3 billion. And today, IMF delegation was in Ethiopia as President Abiy is looking for a loan also. He doesn't want to be left behind. So Ethiopia is looking for a 3.5 billion bailout. Also, it's having economic problems. And so Ethiopia said Thursday that an International Monetary Fund staff mission was in the country to secure a loan program from the lender. Ethiopia is going through both security and an economic crisis. We had 45 civilians being killed in Tigray last month, and there's a war going on there and an economic crisis also. So they're looking to. So in December, Ethiopia failed to pay a 31 million loan that they had, entering the default status, which there are three countries right now in a default status:
Lost the more.
Ethiopia,
That was
Zambia,
me.
and Ghana. Yeah, so that is why they are looking for that 3.5 billion bailout, because they, same as Ghana, they don't want to be in the black book of the lenders. So that was all that was happening today. That is Ethiopia joining Ghana and Egypt keys in the list of borrowers who are asking for a bailout from the big daddy. So let me look at some of the comments before we end the show. Jiba Jaba is with me, and he was saying Maxine Waters is a woman, Hillary Clinton is a woman, Big Mike is a woman. And so his point is, being a woman is not enough for you to be a good leader, and I do agree with that. I was only hailing Senegal for at least giving them a chance to be in the political arena, regardless of their backing, because I don't know who is backing her, and Keith is calling it bullshit. Kay Williams is also with me, and he said exactly, the black politicians here are useless. They are the right hand of white supremacists. I agree with you, Kay Williams, and thank you for joining me. Jiba Jaba is also there, and Ikan was also there with me, and I don't know what link Kid was sharing. He was sharing a certain link, and he's saying, and leave that religion nonsense alone and come back to reality. He's talking to African people. Leave that religious nonsense alone and come back to reality, because the religious brainwashing is too much. If it reaches a point where we are even mutilating, because that is mutilating our young women and girls, to bring back religion, to bring back purity. What is religious purity? To a point that if you look at the wars in Africa, all the wars that are happening in Africa, doesn't matter who has sponsored them, but the angle that they take is the religious angle. You look at the war going on in Nigeria with the Boko Haram, doesn't matter who's backed them or whether they're sponsored chaos, but look at the angle they took. Boko Haram taking an extremist point of view. Look at the war going on in anywhere. Look at the war going on in Somalia with the Al-Shabaab, talking about doing away with the Kafirs. Look at the war going on in Cameroon. Look at the war going on, most of them are to be blamed on the religious brainwashing. It is so easy for me to come and tell you, murder that one because he doesn't believe in the same God as you, and you're going to take a gun and murder them. What you don't know is that the person handing you the gun is not even interested in the religion, doesn't give one hoot about whoever you worship, whoever you pray. He just wants you to fight so that he can take advantage of your richness, your mineral endowment, your control of your economy, control of you as a people. So we really need to do away with, I agree with Kay Williams when he say we need to do away with this. Too much brainwashing is happening. And that is all that was happening in Africa, especially this week. And I hope you have yourself an amazing weekend. And I'll be here tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. on the Diary of a Young Black King. Gonna be talking, ranting, and talking about Africa. I'm sure Keith will be with me tomorrow.
See how he got me. See how he got me, Demore. They took me out. Took me out. They talking about Allah. Let me talk about the fake Muslim.
You talked about Michelle Obama. They are coming to have a talk with you on that.
Right. You're supposed to know about Big Mike. That's Big Mike, Demore. Big Mike. You better know what's going on.
So join me tomorrow. I'm sure Keith will be with me tomorrow for more of this. And
it is damn too bad it's down right now, family. I'm trying to pay one of my workers, but the send wave is down. Christine, you ain't getting paid today, baby. Joe don't like when I say it. So no partying for you tonight. If you plan to party,
I'm sure she's watching. So That was all we had on a night where the US says it has not received a formal request by the Niger's junta to leave military bases. That is why it is still on Niger. On a night where
remember, they did get through. I'm glad you brought that. I guess on Joey's show, they were told to get out.
no, they say they have not. They want an email.
No,
they haven't.
no.
They want an email.
They were told in their face, Demore.
They say they want an email. They want
an
email starting with "I hope this finds you well."
An email. I need an email because they told them in their face, Demore. They were there in Niger. They were there.
No, he said the Congress, the one who was speaking to the Congress said Niger is giving them mixed signals, so they want an email.
They didn't give any mixed signals. They told them to get the fuck out. I'm giving mixed signals. Demore, if you might say Demore, get the fuck out. You're giving me.
No, I'm giving you. Am I going to start asking half an email?
He don't want an email. I told you get the fuck out.
But if I was the junta, I would send it and have them and see what excuse they would give next.
Well, they don't want to get out because they got the biggest military base in Africa in Niger with them drones that that punk Obama put there with him and Big Mike.
According to the US Assistant Secretary of Defense, they are expecting "I hope this finds you well" type of email, and then they're going to leave.
You're gonna get the fuck out. Time for you to go. Your ass up out of here.
Yeah. It is also a night where Uganda's president appointed his son as the new top commander. It is also a night where Algeria has decided to hold a presidential election in September, with Senegal holding its own on Sunday. It is also a night where United Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Cairo, Egypt, to talk about the Hamas-Israel war and how Israel is, according to him, crossing the line.
Shout out to Captain Crunch. You'll never be Ugandan president. Never. Some you did, the West didn't like. That's why they put up their puppet Bobby Wine. You're not gonna be Captain Crunch, but 70 can't maneuver you in something that he don't control. You're not gonna see. They put his ignorant ass in there. Imagine how the 70's not even Ugandan, but he's the president of Uganda. He's from a refugee camp. That issue you're not supposed to know. 70's not even Ugandan. How's he the president of Uganda? He wasn't born and raised in no fucking Uganda. He's brought in as a refugee.
If Maria and Sento said that, then somebody is coming to have a talk with them.
Well, you better know, because they already did. They locked when I first got Maria. Maria got talking. They came and locked her ass up. Yeah, that's real. They locked her ass up because
they'll never give you a visa to Uganda, kid. They'll never give you a visa to Uganda.
Yeah, because she had an interview with Bobby Wine and went to his house, was asking questions. At that interview, Ugandan police came and arrested and locked her ass up and wanted to know what she was talking to Bobby Wine about. So you're exactly right. Exactly right, Demore. You ain't gonna be talking your shit in Uganda. The 70's coming to see you. You know, he was like, she was disappeared just like this sin wave not working. They disappeared, nigga. She sent me a message. Keith, I need help. I'm not in Uganda. I can't do nothing for you. She did. That's her email she sent me. The more she said, Keith, help. Where the hell you at? Prison. Just for that interview? Yes. They locked my
That's why I'm telling you, they're never going to give you a visa to
Uganda. That's why Demore left Uganda. He couldn't sell no more. No more was kind of confused and Uganda, they were coming for his ass. The other Uganda, how you got this money, Demore? Where you get these Kenyan shillings from? I'm from Kenya. No, you're not, nigga. What you doing with these fake shoes in Uganda? Demore said, I'm gonna get out of here. Get off my shit. Demore got his ass on the bus, got across the border.
Make sure to join Jovi in a few before she switches off the light on me.
Or say, see you later, niggas. I'm not in Uganda no more. Fuck you, man. I'm in Kenya now, nigga. I said, tomorrow we need to go back and open another shop. Keith, I can't go back to damn Uganda. I'm on the run.
we, we should actually do that. We should open another shop.
We should. I agree with you. Let me
Yeah.
know when we can do it. I'll front it. I think we should. We got somebody else. I'm not staying. I want about the Ugandan police. The more you never told you wanted about the Ugandan authorities. That's why I left.
See you tomorrow, kids.
What's up, man?
So make sure to join Joby in a few. And it's always a pleasure having you, ladies and gentlemen. And a great weekend to you, Kay Williams, and a great weekend to you, Jiba Jaba, and of course to everyone else who was in the stream who did not comment, and to those who are going to watch this stream later. Much love.
Much love, family. Come back and join me and Joby in a little bit. About 15, 20 minutes.